Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, here I am, the moderator of the person in charge of the explanation session about the TOEFL test in structure, written, and also reading. First, starting with Sapui, who will answer the TOEFL structure question and then explain each answer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Number one, different hormones, blah blah blah, at the same time on a particular target issue. I choose A because it is the tenses is present tense and the time signal should use usually. Number two, the tidal forces on the earth due to blah 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 only 0.46 of the those due to the month. I choose D because the subject is plural. Number three, most radioactive elements occur in the igneous and metamorphic blah 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 fossils occur in sedimentary rocks. I choose C because the tenses of this sentence is present tense and the subject before blah 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 is plural, I mean singular, so it is should use R because the subject is singular. Number four, blah 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 radio stop is accounting accounted the first step in its identification is the determination of its half-life. I choose A because in this zone or blah 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 should should have subject, so a noun radio stop is a subject of this sentence, so I choose an nouns. Number five, the Missouri blah 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 longest river in the United States flows through 7 states from its source in Montana to its confluence with the Mississippi. I choose C. River is one of the because this sentence is the tenses of this sentence is present tense and the Missouri should become a subject, so the Missouri need complete word to complete become a subject, so it is river is one of the, so this become a complete sentence as the subject, so the subject of the sentence, if I choose C, is the Missouri River. The subject is the Missouri River is one of the is the verb. Number six, coral islands such as the Maldives are the lips of the reef built during period of warm climate when blah 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 higher. I choose C because in this sentence, when, after when should gerund. So having is a gerund. Is a gerund. When having sea levels. Number 7. Whole forms within large dense cumulonimbus blah 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 develop on hot humid summer days. I choose C. Clothes that are because this sentence is plural, so use are. It is clothes. It is the complete sentence, or the complete word to complete the word dense cumulonimbus. Number 8. Measles is highly contagious viral disease blah 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 disease blah 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 by a characteristic skin rash. I choose B. Is accompanied because it is passive sentence of and the tenses is present tense. Number 9. Charles Darwin first scientific book published in 1842. Blah blah blah. A since substantive theory on the origin of coral reef and atolls. I choose C because presenting is become a gerund. It is called a gerund. Phytoplanktons thrive where blah 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 porous into the upper layers of a body of water. I choose B. And the circulation of upwelling currents because the sentence is present tense and after where should there is an article, so B there is an article there.
For the second, namely Dita Anggraini Aprilia, who will answer the TOEFL written question and then explain what each answer is.
Number 16. Right answer is nostril without S. It should be nostril because there is a word each. Number 17. The right answer is have, not has, because plural noun. Number 18. The right answer is returned with prefix ad because the present form perfect has plus verb 3. Number 19. The right answer is was because the sentence is a form of passive voice from the past tense. Number 21. The right answer should be fit. 1e. Fit because the passive voice form of present tense. or which means float. Float. Number 23. The right answer is should be hidden, not hid, because the passive voice form of the present tense to be is, are, and plus verb 3. Number 25. Right answer is like, not alike, because usually alike is located the behind a sentence. Right answer number 27 should be a, not an, because the noun begins with the vocal letter uniform. The right answer number 32 is should be another, not other, because diamond is a singular countable noun. The last is 36. The right answer is should be life, not lives, without prefix s, because the subject is a plural subject.
Okay, my last one, Fahira Wulandari. We'll discuss about reading with tips and tricks. Okay, my last one, Fahira Wulandari. We'll discuss about reading with tips and tricks. Okay, first we have to know the technique in working on reading problems quickly. The first is reading technique. The reading techniques is skimming and scanning. What is skimming? Skimming is a quick read. And what is scanning? Scanning is reading certain information without reading in its entirety. For tips and tricks is number one is look for the topic of the paragraph. Number two, pay attention to each word that develops the topic. Number three, usually main idea is found in the two main sentence. Two main sentence. You should remember that. And the last is usually you will find the answer in the complementary sentence, and you have to remember this too. Here for technique number 2 is technique see the topic. You should know what the text is about, usually the problem that arises, like number 1, what is the main topic of this passage. Number 2, like the text is mainly talking about. Number 3, the passage is about. And you have to remember that for tips and tricks, namely number 1, focus on reading the main and last sentences of the paragraph. Number 2, find keywords, yes, I mean that, in each reading, usually a word equation. And for the last, it is if the question is about hearts, then usually the answer is one word or in the form of a phrase like that. For the technique number 3 is technique know the details of the information. Is it about learn tell information, usually question that ask the facts, and in the reading like 5W plus 1H, and the problem that arises will usually be like this. Number 1, like according to the passage blah blah blah. Number 2, it is states blah 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 blah. Number 3, it is indicate that blah blah blah. Number 4, which of the following is not, remember, is not supported by blah blah blah. And number 5 is the passage stage. And for the tips and tricks, you should know this. Number 1 is answer the question of common question types. Remember about this. Number 2, usually sequential questions will be given sequentially. Number 3, you are required to choose the answer like paraphrase or redisclosure of the same intonation but with different words. You must really remember about it. And for the last technique is namely vocabulary question. Usually the question is like is number one, what is the meaning of blah 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 in the line 3 paragraph 1, or number two, the word blah 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 in line 4 can be replaced by blah blah blah. And you should really remember about four technique to doing a great answering and reading TOEFL test. And I hope hopefully you can remember technique of working on TOEFL reading quickly and easily. And now I'm going to give it to you an explanation of 15 questions for you to understand more deeply. And have a good lesson. And finally, I'm Fahira Wulandari who will answer the TOEFL reading question then explain each other. Okay, you can look at the text. For the text of 11 question, I skipped to read them because it's a waste of time. Remember again that the technique of reading the text is two, namely skimming and scanning. Okay, let's do it. And now it's straight to number one. Number one is the main idea of this passage is that blah 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 blah. Okay, if you remember those words, you will immediately know this is included in the technique of answering which number to what number. Yep, the technique number one. We can find out the two main sentences are in the text, which means the answer is A. Harvard is one of the world's most prestigious universities. We continue for number two. The passage indicates that Harvard is blah blah blah. Okay, now we can know that the word the passage directly indicates the first technique. If you remember the passage, the word of the passage directly indicates the first technique. The complementary section is found in the second sentence, in the first second paragraph, and the answer is C. One of the oldest universities in America. For number 3, let's see that. Question number 3 is so long, which means it belongs to the third technique, namely detailed information, because that's so long. That's between question and the text there are not similar words. It is therefore in the form of paraphrase or redisclosure of the same intonation but with different fixed. Let's look at the second paragraph of the second sentence. The fate of the Massachusetts colony that their educational period is quite long is more than 100 graduates. There is it's rather well educated, and the answer is A. Rather well educated. Okay, for number 4, I think that's easy because it goes in the technique number 4, which is about vocabulary mastery. If you understand the text, then you can tell that on the seventh line it is called day, which means universities they have. So the answer is sons. Yes, C. For number 5, okay, number 5 is the same as number 4, which is about vocabulary mastery. The word of pounds means, yep, pounds is units of money. The answer is C. Number 6, okay, Please note the line 10 that the English cousins a child from Cambridge University, so the correct answer is B, relative. For the number 7, okay, let's see the word of where means to ask for information. You can remember again, which means that question number 7 shows detailed information, but let's take another look at the word not. In there means there is not the information of the text. Perform scanning to get faster reading of information, and the correct answer is C. Yep, where he was buried. For number 8, this is similar to the number 4, 5, and 6, which use the number 4 technique on vocabulary mastery. So the correct answer is D. Established. For number 9, let's read about the passage. Look at the question, the passage, and see the option so detailed. That means already shows that it belongs to the details of the information. Just look for the fact in the text, and the correct answer is C. Henry Dunster spent much of his time as president managing the Harvard faculty. Okay, for number 10, again and again, for number 10 is similar to numbers 5, 4, 6, and 8. Just go to the line 20, then understand the answer, and the correct answer is D. Yep, more and less. For number 11, for the question, take a look at the keyword in the word Minister Harvard, then immediately to do skimming or quick read on some of the lines mentioned in the selection until you find these keywords. It didn't take long, and the correct answer is D. On lines 15 until 17. Next, for number 12 to 15, this is a new text immediately explained, and please note number 12, always remember that the first problem is a question that will always ask for main idea or complement, and this number 12 is the question from the first paragraph in the third sentence is a complement, so the correct answer is B. For number 13, include in vocabulary mastery, is now about the mastering of vocabulary, and then the correct answer is D. Differentiated. Okay, for number 14, remember the word passage again, and that means include in the third technique about detailed information. If a similar sentence cannot be found, it means that we have to choose an answer with a prephrase or restating the same intonation but with different facts. So the correct answer is A. One star circles the other. And finally, for the last question is number 15. It is about vocabulary mastery again, and the correct answer to the equivalent word of the proportion is ratio. Is it B? Okay, I thought that all the explanation from me and my group's members. I thought that's all the explanation from me and my group members.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.